It said something. Okay, let's try Facebook Live again. Okay. All right. I am not going to be concerned about Facebook Live. I'm going to start sharing with you. Here's the screen. Share. Okay. Let's give this a try. From the current slide. Well, seems to be working. Let's see if we can get rid of this. No, this. I want to discover apps. I want to close the dock. There. Okay. Now I'm screen sharing a black screen with a little picture of me up in the, not quite the corner. Okay. Well, one thing I'll share with you while we're waiting for all this to come up is that in my meditations now, unfold. Well, my goodness, it's switched. Let's try it. During the first part of this 1 hour show, today it'll be less than that, I share tips and strategies that create harmony with kids. Then we open things up for Q&A and discussion. That's when we have guests. When I talk about creating harmony with kids, I often bring up the one rule. In any situation where there are differences that might lead to conflict between you and your kids, you use the one rule. Using the one rule means you find agreement. It is the rule. The one rule equals agreement. Agreement equals harmony. You do not move forward until there is agreement. This is the rule. And that says the one rule creates peaceful interactions. When you follow this rule, you find harmony. You discover what needs to shift so that everyone involved feels good about the situation. It has never failed me when I have used it. Even though I had not isolated it and named it, it was very much a part of raising my children and working with students as a Montessori teacher in our Montessori school, as well as students in public schools. Today, we're going to look at keeping the peace. We already know that using the one rule is an excellent way to keep peace between people. Now we are primarily going to look at ways to create and maintain inner peace for you and any kids in your life. These days, I begin my day with thinking of 3 things I'm glad about. Well, I'm not doing this practice now, but I did, and it's really helpful. Maybe I should again. Yeah, maybe I will. Okay. You could do this for yourself and with kids, even in a classroom. If you're doing this with others, like your kids or in a classroom, you can all share them if you wish. It also helps to smile while doing this exercise. Then I think about 3 things I'm looking forward to, and then 3 things I'm willing to do to make today even better. I call this the 3 by 3 by 3. It might be enough just to think of 3 things you're glad about. I've meditated for about 50 years. Often I did not achieve what I now call inner harmony, inner peace, or even bliss. But I meditated anyway for the sense of calm I got as a way of getting answers and for the inner adventures. Even though I was initiated into a couple of different forms of meditation that did not focus on the breath, from very early on, I found myself connecting to awareness of my breath. At the time, I did not know it was an official thing. At one point, I decided to learn to silence my mind, which I did, and I just told you that story. I did not know how critically important that is until recently, meaning during the past couple of years. During the past few years, I came across a form of meditation that has quieting your mind as its primary focus. Using this, I was able to get into a state of inner harmony, peace, and even bliss. Every time I meditated, it was so exciting. Then I decided to share my meditations live on Facebook. During this time, I also shared the 3 by 3 by 3 and another practice I do after that. When I started to add another practice to this, I stopped sharing live. I was going to form a Facebook group or do a challenge. Those are both still possibilities. Yeah, I've been thinking about doing a challenge. I've formed a number of Facebook groups, but I've been thinking about doing a challenge. Anyway, I discovered that I was able to, oh, whoa, what happened? It just vanished. Huh. Sorry, folks. I'm going to get, hopefully, I might just do this screen share this way. Because something strange just happened. Oh, it looks like the computer crashed. All right, let's stop the share. See if it'll do that. Oh, it came back. Huh. Very strange, folks. Very strange. All right. It says it's still recording. I don't know if we got it on Facebook Live or not. Let's see. Oh, it crashed again. Wow. Well, I'm going to stay on. Um, I don't know if it says it's recording this. So even though, okay, I'm going to try this again. I'm going to try screen share. And I'm going to try just sharing it here. Let's see. Let's pull this down. Okay. All right. This is the screen it was on when, oh, it's crashed again. Oh my goodness. Interesting. It says I'm screen sharing, but with the computer crashed, who knows? All right, let's pretend I am. How about that? Then I decided to share my meditations live on Facebook. During this time, I also shared the 3 by 3 by 3 and another practice I do after that. When I started to add another practice to this, I stopped sharing live. I was going to form a Facebook group or do a challenge. Those are both still possibilities. Anyway, I discovered that I was able to get into an even more powerful state of inner harmony doing the practices and not quieting my mind. It was puzzling. How could that be? What I mean by this is that hours later, I still feel inner harmony and an inner spaciousness. I can be inwardly silent instantly. I want to share the method for silencing your mind. I no longer remember how I did it originally. but apparently this works. I recommend you do this wherever you are, just as long as you can sit comfortably and you can focus only on what you're doing for 15 to 20 minutes. I used to meditate with my babies and toddlers around me on the bed. I think that's one reason I can get into inner harmony in just about any situation. That's why I recommend you starting wherever you are. Of course, if you prefer to be alone, do that. Sit comfortably with your spine straight. Find something you can focus on, like the sensation of your breath going in and out of your nostrils. My breath in my lungs was what naturally drew my attention. Then you keep your attention on that. When you start to think, pull your attention back to your focus. Do this for 15 to 20 minutes daily. Best if you can do it first thing in the morning. It was also suggested that you can focus on the sound of an air conditioner, a dripping faucet, an app with a constant sound, even focus on the flame of a candle. At some point, you'll notice that your mind is quiet. Keep your focus. This is the state where I feel inner harmony, peace, and even bliss. I might also receive answers to questions I asked at an earlier time, or other guidance and inspiration after the silence. That's when I trust the answers and the inspiration I receive after the silence. So I hope you get that point. That is critical. You can, of course, share this approach with kids. In our elementary school, the school day started with meditation. The kids liked it. However, the goal of inner harmony might be achieved in other ways too when it comes to children. Not just when it comes to children, when it comes to adults too. Um, in the Montessori school, I think that focusing on an activity that satisfied the child at the moment had the same effect. And I think it's true for adults too. In Montessori, what happened was called normalizing the child. In fact, I just realized that when I'm thinking of certain things, there's certain practice that I do. I call it my pattern interrupt. And when I'm, it's kind of like a chanting sort of thing, or using a mantra. It's very much that. Um, I noticed a question that I had earlier, and it was wondering uh, how I could get to such a state, even if I hadn't silenced my mind. But it's what I realized was that I was doing what the children were doing. I was doing a focused activity. Okay. Once a child had connected with a compelling, satisfying activity, they became different people. It seemed to make them the best versions of themselves, kind, helpful, focused, happy. Yeah, see? And that is built into Montessori. That is so cool. It's built in, even though the adults may know nothing about meditation, they learn about what's called normalizing, and it's it has the same effect, because the real goal, which no one pointed out to me, or maybe they pointed out to me and I missed it, that could be, is connecting to the inner being, to your inner guidance, to your divine presence, and whatever it is for you. Doesn't matter what you call it, as long as that works for you, that's what matters. And so there are different ways to make that connection. Some people do it with journaling. Some people do it with running. Um, and in Montessori, it's built in to have children do it. And I don't think she even knew that. And that she learned, the Montessori method came from what she learned directly from the children. So I think it's probably built into us. It would make sense. It really would. So this is one reason it's so important for kids to follow their interests. This is what I talked about last week. If interest is not engaged, there is some degree of resistance, which is the opposite of engagement. It is only in their interest that they discover. This is very, something is disturbing me. It is only in their interest that they discover normalizing activities, become fulfilled, and find that state of inner harmony. I just realized that there's something here for me to transform, release, allow, that I must not have been interesting. Huh. It is also important to have a practice that can help you get back to a state of inner harmony during your day. Like I have my pattern interrupt. That's what I was talking about earlier. I didn't tell you the name, but that's what I call it, because it interrupts my patterns of not allowing patterns of resistance. I have a phrase that I can repeat in my mind when I notice that I'm not feeling inner harmony. It brings me back to that state, or at least to a better feeling state. If I keep it up, it brings me to that state, or anyway. Let's go on here. It interrupts the negative thought pattern I've started and gets me focused on something I like. By negative, I mean that I'm thinking thoughts that I do not want to happen. At some point, I realize that I'm feeling better. I'm thinking better thoughts, and I've stopped thinking my pattern interrupt. To create your own pattern interrupt, come up with a phrase or word or mantra that you like or feel drawn to. Whenever you feel like it, repeat it in your mind. This is just to create it as a practice. So when you do need it, it is already something you're used to. When you notice that you're not in a good mood, or you realize that you're thinking thoughts about what you do not want, these usually happen together. Start repeating your pattern interrupt in your mind. Keep it up until you're feeling good again. Or maybe you'll discover, as I do, that you're not repeating your pattern interrupt and you are feeling better and thinking positive thoughts again. Or maybe just being aware of what you appreciate. Wow, I didn't know this was such a powerful lesson. Maybe that's why the computer crashed. Here's a practice that was very helpful with kids in our elementary school. Something like this could help at home too. When a child was having a hard time, either just feeling bad or causing trouble for others, they were invited to be in the center of a circle. Each person in the circle would say something they liked about the child in the center. This made all the kids feel better. Wow, what a powerful lesson. Wow, I'm in awe. If you haven't done this already, now is a good time to eliminate punishment. Our goal is to keep the peace. Besides, punishment is totally unnecessary. Once I decided never to force my kids to do anything they did not want to do. We all got along better than ever. Besides, you have the one rule. You can find agreements about anything. Now, the important thing is to choose a place to start or expand your practices. If you want to feel happier, you might start with thinking of 3 things you're glad about. You might do this with your kids. If you haven't quieted your mind, you can start by quieting your mind. If you can quiet it, but not whenever you wish, you can start there. If you have not introduced following their interests to your kids, you can start there with them. You might also start with sitting to quiet their minds if they want to. Be sure to explain the benefits briefly. I just learned something that relates to what I've shared. I tried it and it seems to work. It feels more powerful, so I'm going to share it here. After each thing you're glad about, add the word because, and then the reason you're glad about that. It is supposed to increase the positive effect in your life. Wow. Thanks for being here. All right, let's see what happens when we stop the share. Huh. The computer crash stops. Wow. This is really interesting. Um, well, I'm going to not share the screen, but I am going to see if we can do the next Zoom that I planned for you. Okay. No, what a trip. What a trip. Very complicated. Okay. When I start to share the screen, or I start to screen share, even when I start to screen share, or when I start to share the slideshows I picked out for you, it crashes. I don't know what's going on. But that was a really powerful lesson for me that I just shared with you. Theoretically, I don't know if it actually worked. But I'm glad I discovered it. I think I'm going to make that challenge. Yeah, when I'm done here, well, I have other things to do, but at some point, I am going to put together this challenge. This feels really good, wholesome, and that lesson can be part of it, and it's already done. Probably the introduction. Wow. And now it doesn't seem that the computer is crashed. So, well, we looked at Bliss a little bit. And we looked at harmony. I think I'm going, oh no, not going to screen share, not going to pull up anything. But if you go to the Happy Kids Co, that's CO, happykidsco.org website, on just about every page down, if you scroll down to the bottom, there is a place that you can sign up as an affiliate and can earn, the affiliates earn 50% of whatever they sell. And it varies from, I think $1.99 is the cheapest thing, to at this point several $100s is the more expensive, for people that want to work directly with me, finding solutions, harmonious solutions to their situations. So that's something that you can do. And I'm going to make a recording. I'm going to make a separate recording of the show, of the lesson that I gave today. And I will make this available. Or maybe I will just make it available to people that sign up for the challenge. Maybe. but it will also be available to anyone who pays the $1.99 to join the Happy Kids membership. When you do that, you get access to just about everything that I have created, which is lots of ebooks and videos, a handful of trainings, like maybe a dozen different trainings. There's things like self-respect, like the power of respect, working with 2-year-olds, finding harmony with 2-year-olds, maintaining harmony with 2-year-olds, and teens, working, finding harmony with troubled teens, or even any teens. Anyway, there's so much that can help you with situations that are problems for you. One thing that I mentioned and we went by kind of quickly is if you haven't stopped using punishment in your life, now is a really good time to. You can, if you go to the happykidsco.org site, one of the first things you'll get to when you scroll down is you can sign up just to get on the mailing list, and you will receive the video on Intro to Creating Peace and Harmony with the One Rule, so that you can switch out, take a look at it and switch out that for punishment, and you are just going to love how your life transforms and your kids' life. You are all going to have such an enormously just huge, I can't even say the word that's so big about how the change, how life can change in just beautiful, good feeling, filled with love and peace and joy and delight, just awesome ways. And that's what I get to offer to this world, is a way to do that. Simple, powerful, awesome way to do that. I'm so fortunate for that. So do that. Go sign up. If you haven't already, go sign up, get that video, and use the one rule in your life. I mean, I've had people tell me they've used it with their husbands. I've had people who say, oh, this would be great in the workplace. I've been honored to be made a partner with one of the biggest peace organizations in this world, working to create peace. And they partnered with me because of what I can offer, this simple, powerful, awesomely powerful way to create harmony between you and your kids, between kids and kids, siblings, even other kids that aren't in a family. That's how I first learned this, with 3 and 4-year-old children. I think one girl was 3 and one was 4, but they were close in age, and I learned from them this method. I didn't know. It took me many years to figure it out, but I used it, but I didn't think of it as a method. Now I do. I know the power. So, okay, well, I hope this all worked out well and you have a great week.